Good evening! Welcome to the writing channel. It's I, Guillermo Porro, and I'm preparing myself to write. As you can see, my computer's pretty dead. Not sure if you can really see that, but hey, just gonna get the point. My battery on my computer is like at 1%. So I'm actually working on this new story. Completely different from what my other stories are, which majority of them are about talking animals, so you can kind of like get the gist, but this is probably a little bit more darker. It's called Regress the Progression, or at least that's like the tentative title. It's basically about like an anti-hero who basically is trying to find a way to bring back the humanity aspects of society, and because at one point he loses everything to, you know, all of this progression, he gets beat up and pretty much loses everything that he thought he cared about. And then it's just a matter of, you know, finding his true purpose, and the fact that what really society was missing was the human aspect of it, and allowing interaction between him and the world. So I pretty much have everything set up. Computer. I've got my fan. I've got my handy dandy notebook. For those who don't know, like, you know, anybody born before the 2000s, this is a spiral notebook. You can tell because it's got spirals on it. Okay, and on it, you've got some writing. This is basically just, that's the way that I write. If I don't have an idea or I feel like my story is not meeting the bars that I'm setting for it, I will go in and literally write the events. Like, I'll basically plan ahead and say, okay, well, I have this character A, you know, I'm gonna go B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, and this is what I want to do. And then as I hit them, I'll basically like check mark it and make it like a checkpoint. Like, okay, boom, got it. And then, you know, because to me, that's always been a helpful thing. And I don't know about you guys out there, but if you know, everybody has a different way of writing. My way of writing is that I like to write the events. I like to have an idea about what I want to transpire. And then, you know, I can just add in the conversations. I can add in new characters. And I can kind of figure out from there, like, where they would fit. Like, you don't want to just, like, just say, you know what, I'm just going to add in character A today. And then it's like, you really didn't need to add him. Like, he really doesn't serve a purpose. So you really want to, like, if you're going to add new characters, like, let's say you have your main character. You really want to add in characters that are only going to serve a purpose, whether it's in that moment or going throughout the story. Like, you don't just want to have, like, a random, I mean, you can have a random character. You know, if you've run to anything from, like, Game of Thrones or, you know, Lord of the Rings, stuff like that, you can have random characters, but either A, they're bound to die, or B, they're just like, who are you? What are you doing here? So I really try not to have those. I've noticed I've probably done a little bit of that in regards to, like, my animal stories. I'm really trying to cut back on that, because it kind of got to the point where animal stories where I was like, you know, I'm just gonna, you know, I really think it'd be cool to have like you know, a crazy species of animal, and then just throw them in there. But, you know, that's why this story to me is different, because it's a darker setting. I mean, it's a darker future, more technology, more advancements, and less social interaction. And so the whole idea for it was that I really wanted to try something human related. It wasn't, you know, the number one critique that you'll get as a writer is that people will tell you, you know, stick to what you know, stick to what you do best. I mean, if you enjoy writing stories about buckets of chicken flying over a rainbow, I know that was really random, and I'm sure a terrible analogy, then you stick to what you know. You know, I had always set out the goal where I wanted to write at least one story of every kind. I have tried to write a love story countless times. I I can't do it. Like, the brain just like, my imagination just wants to go, and it doesn't work. So I think what I'm gonna, like, I guess if I ever try to attempt again, I just might like work on like a more of like an imagination version of it, and basically meaning like a fictional tale, but basically a love story. Like, not going completely human and completely, like, you know, nonfiction, but still make it where it's fictional and still where, you know, I can still have the ability to be creative. And that's what I feel like with like stories is that, sorry, you know, for the adjustments and the camera angle, because, you know, this is a one-man show. There ain't nobody in here. There's no camera crew. There's no adjustments. There's no crazy photos, no cameras. This is just me. Me being real, me explaining to, you know, talking to you guys about how I feel and how I feel like there could be tips and advice to help you guys figure out a way to improve your writing. And look, I'm not perfect on my writing at all. I'm so thankful for editors, like, unbelievable, so thankful. But I wanted to show you guys that there's, you know, look, there's no like cue cards, nothing, literally just me sitting here in front of a computer, notepad, 6-foot teddy bear. You might see him in some future videos. I haven't decided what I'm gonna do yet in regards to this channel, but you know, this is kind of just where I'm at. Right now I'm on page, actually I'm on page 12. That's actually farther than I thought I was. Sorry. But you really want to look at it as, you know, you really can't write for money. And I don't mean money as in like, hey, I'm writing articles for a newspaper. No, I'm saying writing as in like, you can't write a book and just immediately expect, boom, it's going to be the next Harry Potter, the next Game of Thrones, the next Lord of the Rings. It takes hard work. It takes perseverance. It takes marketing. It takes hustling, pushing out there. Anybody you meet, everybody you meet at any time, you got to push it. You got to say, hey, look, hey, I'm an author. Hey, you know, I write. Hey, I'm doing this. You know, you always have to be up for a challenge in regards to writing. You can't just be comfortable, because if you get comfortable, then you get complacent. Then you're looking at it like, oh, well, you know, I can do that in my sleep. You know, I've written 5, 10, 15 stories all about that. Then where's the challenge there? What are you doing to yourself? You know, it's like, you know, obviously if you're watching this, it means your mind is creative enough to put yourself down and write something. That means that whatever you're doing to make money is not what you want to do. It's not your passion. My passion is challenging myself and pushing, and that's what your passion should be, is challenging yourself as a writer and saying, you know what, I need to grow, I need to develop, I need to pursue weirder, stranger, more creative, unattainable storylines that nobody's ever thought of. And you gotta move, and you gotta take the ball, and you gotta run with it. Like, you know, you tell people, hey, you're an author, and believe, and I get it all the time, where it's like, hey, like I'm writing, I write, and it's like, oh, and then the number one response you'll get is, oh, I wish I could write. I just don't have the patience for it. But it's not so much about the writing part. That's more about, you know, if you're truly passionate about writing, then you don't care if it takes hours, days, months, years. You just know that you have a story to tell. And you know, we all have stories to tell. You know, that's why it's called your life story. It's because it's your story. It's your story to tell. And that's all writing is. I just have more than one story to tell. You've got more than one story to tell. We've all got more than one story to tell. It's just putting our mind to it. Sitting down. In my case, I'm sitting down on a yellow baby chair. You know, my grown 6'2" self sitting on a little baby chair. But I make it work, man. You know, I'm be able to say, hey, I wrote a story that I was sitting on a 2-foot chair. I don't want to hear no excuses. I'm sharing a bedroom with my wife, a 6-foot teddy bear, and I'm sitting on a small little chair with my computer on my bed. Ain't no desk, and I'm able to do it. I enjoy writing. You should enjoy writing. We should enjoy writing. It's a creative, it's a way to express all the emotions that exist in our days that are left unexpressed. It's a means for it. It's a place to put all that. And so I'll let you guys go. Maybe the next video will be something less writing appropriate. But I got a storyline to write. I got characters to create. I got a world to create. So one last thing. For those of you who are aspiring to be writers and aspiring to be authors and storytellers, definitely look into buying one of these, because sometimes sometimes at the weirdest times and times of the day, you'll get this craziest story idea, and you're like, oh, I gotta write it down. Oh my god, and you'll forget. But don't ever let anybody tell you that your ideas are crazy. I wrote a story about talking animals with narwhals fighting against bears and bobcats, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. And so will you. So stay creative, be who you are, and right away.